Alright, so this is my Andor Season 1, Episode 2 review. And it starts off with a flashback, continuing on from the first episode, where they're continuing to trek to the crash site. And as they're doing that, Casa finds this open air mine. And he's admiring it because it is vast, it's huge. And then he quickly goes to join the others. And the leader, who all of a sudden they all look like adults this time, whereas last episode they all looked like kids. So anyway, so the leader goes to investigate the crash site to see if there's any survivors. She pokes at one. Nothing happens, which I thought was a bizarre way of finding out if they're dead, poking and prodding at them. So then she goes to another one and checks again if this person is alive, and he collapses out of the ship onto the ground. And the first guy gets up, and immediately shoots her. I mean, really? You don't know what's going on. You crashed. What makes you think she's an enemy? So, seemingly dead. I mean, we see her lifeless on the ground, so maybe she is dead. And so then we go back to the present, where first before they leave the flashback, they carry her off, and Cassian is seen looking, well, Casa, the time, is seen looking back at the ship. So that's the end of the flashbacks. So in present day, Cassian is, of course, running, and he gets home, and B is there, as well as mother, grandmother. We just know she's Marva. I don't know if they actually said who she is, and I just missed it. So she's upset, and B plays the warning, the wanted poster, which we had just seen Bix reading, and then she just hightailed it out of there. And her boyfriend is looking at what she's seeing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure one of two things is going to happen to this guy. Bix is just going to break up with him not because she's still in love with Cassian or anything, but because he doesn't trust her at all. I mean, seriously. Why would you want to date someone who doesn't trust you? And she is going to find out. She's a smart girl. She will find out that he doesn't trust her. And, I'm pretty sure she's going to kick him to the curb. Now, either that's going to happen, or my second theory, which I'll get to in a second, So she goes off to a meeting place. Cassian gets B to tell him why Bix called and what she wanted. So, and he lets Marva know that he let it slip that to the Imperials that he's from Kenari. Now, of course, he didn't explain exactly how, he just said he totally messed up. And Marva is losing her shit over the fact that people know about Kenari. And at this point, you're wondering what the hell is going on? What happened on Kenari that this is such a secret? And, does it have something to do with that ship? And that's why we're seeing flashbacks? Or what's happening? And, so Cassian leaves to go meet with Bix. They're talking, and of course the boyfriend, the jealous boyfriend, is watching over them and drinking. Because jealousy and booze is always a good combination. And so they're talking. Cassian does put his hand on Bix, but he tells her sort of a bit more of what happened. And but he said he was jumped. He wasn't exactly jumped, but, they were guards, so he was being held up by them, and basically they were trying to rob him, so it wasn't a complete and utter lie, but it wasn't completely the truth either. So, he puts his hand on Bix's arm. Bix removes his hand, but not before jealous boyfriend goes to turn in Cassian. Now, my understanding is he was nowhere near them, so there is no way he knew that Cassian was involved. I think he was just hoping to cause trouble for Cassian, not realizing that this is the person that they're actually looking for. So the guards get the message, get the tip, and at first they're like, but this says nothing about Kenari, so this isn't the guy. Well, let's look into his past. Oh, yes, it probably is. And then they bring in the I don't know, she's the owner or what. And I assume she confirmed that it was Cassian. So the deputy inspector decides that he's going to go to Ferrex himself with a team of inspectors to bring him in. And they introduce this inspector or guard, I guess he was a guard, and my God, all I could think of was Scotty from Star Trek. He reminded me so much of Scotty. And by that I mean the combination of the first Scotty and the second Scotty. So, yeah. And he's saying, he's giving the speech about how you're doing the right thing and how you can't let these people go, because if you let this go, things will get out of hand, blah, 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 and being super hardcore. And it seems like at first that the deputy inspector is kind of not, he's a bit taken aback, but at the same time, he's thrilled that someone agrees with him. So, he puts together a team and they get on a ship to go to Phoenix or Phoenix. And um as they're going, the I'm just gonna call him Scotty because I don't know his name, and like I said, he reminds me so much of Scotty. He gives this wonderful speech, riling people up, and then it's up to the deputy inspector to give a speech. Yeah, not a public speaker at all. And the way he was so uncomfortable makes me wonder if he isn't starting to have second thoughts about doing this. So I wonder if by the end of the season he actually um starts helping Cassian or outright leaves the Imperial Guard. One of the two, or well, both. So then we see that and at this meeting, Bix said that Cassian saying I have to leave the planet, and Bix is like, but the buyer's coming, and there's no stopping that. So now Cassian has to stick around long enough to meet with the buyer before he leaves, and then he meets with a transporter who he finagles to get him on a transport and with no questions asked, and he's like, yeah, that's gonna cost you. Something tells me that he's not going to need to worry about that. So that's where we find out that Kenari was destroyed in a mining accident. Now, whether that's true, we did see an open air mine on Kenari, but this is the Empire. So, is that what happened? Is that why Cassian and his sister got separated in the explosion? And how many of his tribe survived? So, because we know already their leader is dead. Now, so then we see the buyer taking a ship down. It's only so far, and then he gets on a shuttle to go all the rest of the way to Phoenix. And of course, there's the trope of the chatty older person who just strikes up a conversation and doesn't really take the hint that the person he's talking to is not interested. So they're going down, and I assume that the silver-haired, the quiet guy, is the buyer. I'm assuming he's the buyer. Now, so Cassian goes to a ship. I don't know if it's the ship at the junkyard, and retrieves the unit that he wants to sell to the buyer. And then we see B there. And B is trying to convince Cassian not to leave because he has to protect Marva's credits, because apparently because he said nobody can know where Marva's credits are. Well, that's why you need to stay. And So B is desperately trying to convince Cassian to stick around. And Marva is looking for B for some reason. And she walks in the back, thinking that maybe he's charging himself. So she walks into what I assume is Cassian's room. And she sees all these weapons. And she picks one up and she's just looking at it. So I don't know if those are black market items or if this is because he's formerly part of the resistance. We don't know. And that's pretty much how it ended. Let's see if I'm missing anything. I don't believe so, because, yeah, to me anyway, it ended abruptly, suddenly. Oh, the end credits. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. So, I will probably get to Andor episode 3 tomorrow, and hopefully She-Hulk as well. So yeah, I think I've got it all covered, and I will see you guys next time.